Gosh, it's nice having you guys along with me. Normally I'm teaching students, sitting in the right seat, or flying by myself. Not often doing this, fly from the left seat, talk to you guys thing.
I'm Jason Miller, a full-time professional flight instructor. On the Finer Points channel, you can join me as I bring you tips and tricks that I've learned from 20 years on the flight line. Hello aviators, welcome back to the Finer Points. In this video, we're going to talk about checking out in a new make and model. One of the most exciting things you do after you get your pilot certificate is going and checking out in different airplanes, different makes and models, things you have not flown before. It's still pretty rad for those of us who've been flying for a long time. And even though I have Piper Aero time in my past, I've got a lot of Piper time in general. Typically I'm flying Cessnas, so it's been a long time. And what I want to show you in this video is how the standard operating procedures that I use and that I teach really act as a kind of safety blanket in a way to keep what can be similar as you move between makes and models. It usually takes about 5 hours of butt time in the seat, I think, to get comfortable. And if you want, by the way, more information about these SOPs, I have an entire iBook on it. You can find that at learnthefinerpoints.com. It's also detailed in the Ground School app. We have an entire section on procedural training. But what I did is I went and got a checkout. I went down to Auburn Airport. Awesome little airport there at Auburn, and I found a flying club called Sunshine Flyers. Mike and the gang there are pretty rad, and I got checked out in their 1974 Piper Aero 2. So what you're gonna see here is like the third flight that I'm doing in it as I build those 5 hours of comfort, just so I feel really good in the airplane on all levels before I put the kids in the back and my wife in the seat next to me. And what I'm gonna show you is how those SOPs work. For me in practice, this is really something I do. These are all the standard operating procedures that I execute from engine start all the way through takeoff and climb out to cruise altitude. So here we go, ride along with me and check it out. Let's go through our engine start. Props full forward, mixture's full rich, anti-collision light is on, avionics are off, circuit breakers are in, everything's looking good there. Okay, we're on the left tank. Yep, we are on the left tank. That is confirmed. Okay. Now we're gonna go half open on the throttle, master switch on, fuel pump, mixture auto cutoff, clear, start, 1,000, 30 seconds, avionics on. All right. Half throttle. Master switch is coming on. Everything looks good there. 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3. We see fuel pressure. Clear prop. Look around us, make sure no one's here. Get the right key in our hand. Okay. There it goes. Come in under our headset. Beautiful. We're gonna go 119 or 37. I always listen on the bottom radio. It's one of my little SOPs. We go 119 or 37, bring that over. Go ahead, just because we're not talking to anybody, I'll just take
more than one.
I'll just take the mic and my ears over to COM 2.
Below 12,000. Temperature 2-3 Celsius. Dew point -4 Celsius. Altimeter 3025 inches of mercury. Remarks.
Ooh,
density
nice
altitude
2500.
Noise abatement procedure. Runway 25 departure. Turn left 20 degrees. Safety permitting, watch power setting. Avoid overflight of residential areas till reaching an altitude of 2,000 feet MSL.
All right, we'll let that roll around one more time. I didn't get all of it.
Auburn Municipal Airport. Automated weather observation 1803 Zulu. Wind 150. at 3 knots. Visibility more than 10. Sky condition clear below 12,000. Temperature 2-3 Celsius. Dew point -4 Celsius. Altimeter 3025 inches of mercury.
Okay, I just stopped here on the screen because I want to show you guys something. I see so many people blow through this. If you've got a Garmin unit, like a 430 here, take a minute and see what this screen says. We should see the CDI half left, the glide slope flag half up. All right, the 2 flag should be showing. There's the localizer and vertical flags are out of view, and when I turn the OBS here, I see the numbers change on the digital OBS as well. Now, that's not a deal stopper if it didn't do that, but at least I know it doesn't do that. So now I know it does. I can go ahead and advance through this screen, make sure I'm getting the appropriate GPS indications. All right, all that's looking good. All right, we've got the 1 minute weather at the taxi. Before we roll anywhere, let's just do a before taxi checklist. We set the AWAS, CTAF, barrow setting, heading bug to the wind. Oh, there's no heading bug. There's a heading bug. We'll go 150. The winds are pretty much light today. I am going to go off runway 25 because it's slightly downhill. When the winds are this light, I'd rather go downhill than try to go uphill into a 3 knot, which is probably like a 1 knot headwind, if any. Anyway, all right, moving on. Okay, so we got the CTAF, 1227. We always talk on the top and listen on the bottom, so the transmitter is up on number 1 and staying there. Release brakes, verify the brakes work, and proceed with taxiing with your eyes outside the airplane. All right, let's do this. As I roll forward a little bit, I'm going to hit the brakes. Those look good. And then say, Auburn traffic, Aero 1406 Tango, taxiing Sunshine to runway 25. Auburn. Yeah, I catch myself make those little mistakes. Taxiing to runway 25. I should have just said taxiing runway 25. Oh, and by the way, speaking of that, I'm used to flying high-wing airplanes, but we're going to start the engine here. We started at 10 o'clock. What a perfect nice start on the left tank. I have a system, by the way, that I invented for keeping track of fuel in a low-wing airplane that I think is the bomb. If you want to know what it is, I'm going to put a little video up on Patreon for the patrons to show them exactly how it works. All right. Now, talking out loud to keep myself in the game as I turn right, numbers increase, turn coordinator turns right, ball moves outside the turn, attitude indicator is stable. And as I turn left, turn coordinator turns left, ball moves outside, numbers decrease, attitude indicator is stable, and numbers decrease on the mag compass to the left, and they increase to the right. All right, taxi checks are complete. You know, whenever I'm trying to get used to a new airplane, I'm always trying to figure out exactly what the centerline references are. So here, because you know, Piper really isn't the plane I fly most often. Definitely got a lot of time in Warriors, but not nearly as much as I do in other aircraft. So I want to make sure I don't remember the sight pictures wrong. I can always just try to get on the center line of the taxiway and sort of lean toward the center. Make sure I'm on the center line and then figure out exactly what point. Like, okay, that's center line. Oh yeah, it's right where the curve, like there's like this little bubble in the cowling, so right where that curve hits the dash, the glare shield for me, that's exactly what's on this, that's the center line reference right there. All right, winds are calm, so I'm taxiing with the yoke full back today. Otherwise, I would be positioning the flight controls for the effects of wind. Gosh, it's nice having you guys along with me. Normally, I'm teaching students, sitting in the right seat, or flying by myself. Not often doing this, fly from the left seat, talk to you guys thing. Here we are in the run-up area. Position myself right here. No one's behind me. Go ahead and engage the park brake. Bring power to 1000 and go through cigars. Controls. Box the controls. Those are free and correct. The trim is a control. It's been checked and set to 0. Flaps are a control and they're going to 10. Instruments are all looking good. No flags. Altimeter set. Attitude looks good. And the compass is drifting a little, but there it is.
Harbor traffic, Cherokee 5317.
All right, instruments gas. We're keeping it on the left tank.
West of the airfield.
There is no totalizer. We've got plenty of fuel. Way more fuel than
25.
CIGA. Enunciators. There are no enunciators illuminated. There is no autopilot we're going to check today. All trims, simply the elevator trim and the rudder trim, which we're not going to mess with on the ground here. And our radios run up. Radios are looking good. Run up. We check no one's behind us. We're going to go to 2,000 RPM. And we'll start with a little mag check. So we'll check the right mag. Get a little drop and back to both, and that stabilizes. Left mag, nice smooth drop. Back to both, it stabilizes. We see oil pressure a little high, but that's because the temp's coming up. Let's put a load here on the load meter. This load meter is really hard to read. You can't see much of a load, but I'm checking the voltage on the system, and the voltage looks good. It's just hovering there at 14. So that tells me that system is working. Fuel pressure is always like that. As long as it's wobbling in the green, I think it's a situation normal. That's a snafu moment. Then we're going to check the alternate air to make sure the engine can breathe. If we need it to, it can. We'll do the propeller, get one drop, we get a rise in manifold, drop in RPM. Next drop, we should see a fluctuation in oil pressure, and we do. All right, we'll leave prop full again and bring the throttle back down to idle. Oh, good, the aircraft has a nice clean idle. Perfect. All right, we're gonna bring the power back up to 1,000 and lean the mixture there because we're gonna sit here for a couple more moments while we review a checklist, make sure we didn't miss anything. Verify brakes, mixture, throttle, 2,000, mags look good. Vacuum, we missed the vacuum. You know what, we're getting enough suction here at idle power, but let's just bring it up. Yep, vacuum's looking good. All right, that's why you do a checklist. All right, and that goes back to there. Oil pressure we checked, temperature, alt, air, propeller, fuel pump. Ooh, we left the fuel pump off. Well, let's just turn it on, turn it off. Fuel flow does not change. Definitely remember to turn that on.
Cherokee 5317 Whiskey, 3 miles.
Check flight instruments, throttle back to idle.
On the 45, okay. Inbound for 25.
Something I wanted to do was file a flight plan, and I forgot to do it. So, I'm going to use ForeFlight here. We're going to take advantage of ForeFlight, and I'm going to go ahead and file a flight plan. Instead of doing it in the air, I'm going to do it using ForeFlight, being very careful to divide my attention here outside the aircraft. So we'll tether to my iPhone just briefly, dividing my attention, come back here to ForeFlight, and put in a little route. I'm just going to go from Auburn to Truckee. Just put that route in there, and then I'm going to go bend the route. So let's just close the flight plan. This is the route I'm actually going to fly. Up Interstate 80. We'll go first to Blue Canyon. We're not going to land at Blue Canyon, but we'll basically follow Interstate 80 there. That's kind of the route, okay? So we'll come back down. There's stuff to pack, but I don't think I need that. What I really want to do is look at the nav log, send this to flights, divide my attention. Nothing worse than being head down like that, so I'll pick this up a little bit. All right, we already got our weather briefing, so I'm going to just go ahead and file this. We are going VFR. All right, make sure we have the right airplane, good. The right true airspeed, the number of people, the place, persons on board. Altitude is not 13,000 feet. We'll be doing this one at, we're going eastbound, so let's call it 7,500. Time en route says 24 minutes. Fuel, we have plenty of fuel, way more than an hour and 20 on board. We've got 3 hours of fuel on board. Okay.
AOPA traffic, Cherokee 5317 Whiskey, left downwind for runway 25 Auburn.
All right, we're going to go ahead and file that. It's filing our flight plan for us, and then we're just going to activate it, and we're pretty much ready to go. Boom, flight plan is filed. So then we're going to go to that flight plan and activate. Am I sure I want to activate it? Departure time will be 10:13. That's about right. Boom. Activating flight plan. There we go. That's a piece of cake. Now, getting my head back into the flying game. We're here at runway 25. Winds are pretty much calm.
Whiskey, turning left base for runway 25.
They're favoring 25. The halfway point is, I'll say, we don't have our abort speed by that first taxiway, and abort speed for us is going to be about 70 miles, going to be about, yeah, about 70 miles per hour. No, that's not right. Okay, rotation speed is about 70, so 70% of that is going to be about 55, all right? So if we know 55 knots by the halfway point or that first taxiway, we're going to abort the takeoff. 1,000 feet above the airport today is 2,500 feet. I'm just going to make a note of that. All right, if there's a problem on the runway, I'm going to power back, stop the aircraft on the runway. If there's a if there's a fire or failure after rotation with runway remaining, it's power back, pitch forward, land on the available runway. If there's any kind of power failure after rotation with no runway remaining, I'm going to check everything full forward, fuel pump on, pitch forward to keep the airplane flying. In this airplane, that has to be an aggressive pitch forward, and then switch to the other fuel tank if I have time. If I don't have time, I'm going to land straight ahead with just shallow turns, and if time permits in that case, I will shut the fuel off. In either case, I'll turn the master off. We've got mechanical flaps today, so best glide speed is 90 miles per hour, and I will land. There's some available fields out there, and hope for the best. We're going to put this on north up because that's the way I like it.
Traffic, Explosion 40 Lima, departing runway 25. It'll be straight to the west after noise abatement.
There we go. All right. Let's go ahead and do our little Juan Brown 360. Let's check everybody in the sky. Planes can be coming from anywhere. There's one little sport plane taking the runway. We see somebody on the noise abatement departure. Nobody in the downwind as far as I can see. Nobody on base as far as I can see. Nobody on final as far as I can see. All right. That guy's rolling.
Traffic 35317 Whiskey, turning left crossing for runway 25 Auburn.
Auburn traffic, Aero 1406 Tango, taking runway 25 for left downwind departure, Auburn. All right, we're going to use the whole runway here.
Auburn traffic, Turkey 15317 Whiskey, turning left downwind for runway 25 Auburn.
All right, mixture's rich, fuel pump is on, that's lights, good, camera, good, action. All right, feet on the floor. Let's do this. Power set. Engine gauge is checked. Airspeed's alive. We have our abort speed. We'll just transition to a flight attitude and let the aircraft leave the ground of its own accord. There she goes. There's still runway in front of us, so we'll leave the gear down for just a moment. All right, out of runway, the gear's coming up. I'll keep my hand on the gear handle until I verify that the gear has in fact retracted. All right, gear's up. Climbing out at 100 knots here. We did our 20-degree turn for noise abatement. And now I'll turn crosswind. Climbing out at 100. It's a little faster than VY, but it works for me. Auburn traffic, Aero 1406 Tango's left crosswind on a left downwind departure, Auburn. Okay, there's definitely positive rate of climb. 200 feet, more than 80 knots in this aircraft. Flaps coming up. Auburn traffic, Aero 1406 Tango, left downwind, on a left downwind departure, Auburn. All right, let's head back into Auburn. The first thing we're going to do on our arrival here is actually get the ASOS. So I always listen on number 2, I'll bring that up.
Setting. Avoid overflight of residential areas till reaching an altitude of 2,000 feet MSL.
There's 2,500.
Auburn Municipal Airport. Automated weather observation 1842 Zulu. Wind 200 at 4 knots. Visibility more than 10. Sky condition clear below 12,000. Temperature 24 Celsius. Dew point -3 Celsius. Altimeter 302. 6 inches of mercury. Remarks. Density altitude 2700.
Auburn traffic, Aero 1406 Tango, approximately 3 miles to the northwest. We're making a midfield downwind entry, runway 25, Auburn. All right, okay, so that's ASOS, altimeter, approach briefing we've got, cross midfield, turn left downwind. Let's go fuel pump on. All the other lights are on. Mixture is pretty much good where it is. And we'll get over here to midfield. Auburn traffic, Aero 1406 Tango is coming over the top of the field. 2,500, making left downwind entry. Runway 25, Auburn. Here we are, coming into the downwind. Below 155, gears coming down. Keep my hand on the handle until I see 3 green. And I see 3 green, so the landing gear is down. And we'll go flaps 10 and start the landing sequence. Powering back, prop goes full forward. And speeds are on target. 95, 85, 75. Auburn traffic, Aero 1406 Tango's turning left base, runway 25, Auburn. The white arc, flaps 20. One more gumps check, we're gonna go gas is on the appropriate tank. Undercarriage down, we see 3 green. Mixture's coming almost full rich. Props full forward. And pumps are on. Okay, landing checks are complete. Auburn traffic, Aero 1406 Tango's left base to final 25 Auburn. Okay, a little high, a little fast. So let's go flaps full inside the white arc here. I'll trim it up a little bit, and we'll use the numbers as our aiming point. All right, slowly close out the throttle here. As we work to hold the aircraft off, it's a good thing I checked that centerline sight. Not a greaser. Darn it. All right, and we'll smoothly brake while we're on the runway here. Not touching the flaps until we are fully clear of the runway. All right, and we will exit.
All right, aviators, that's all for this episode of the Finer Points. I hope those SOPs really help you in your flying. Again, if you want more on those, you can find them in the Ground School app. You can also find detailed information about them in my iBook called Setting the Standard. Huge thanks to the patrons. That support has been huge for me and for you for getting these videos out on the internet and fulfilling our mission of getting quality flight training out online. Big thanks to the sponsors. That support is also very helpful. And of course to you, the best fans on the internet, for watching this video. Please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, make sure you hit that little alert bell, otherwise I think you won't get notified. But most importantly, until next time, be safe and fly your best.